Now this is a brisket. When I think of brisket, I think of Texas because I don't think anyone has perfected brisket like Texas has. Come on, they use salt and pepper and that's it. It tastes great. Nothing else, no sulfates, no injections, nothing like that. None of that fuss, none of that weird scientific stuff. Just let the meat do the talking and that's it. So today I'm going to be using a USDA prime packer brisket. A packer brisket consists of 2 pectoral muscles from the cow. It's a very tough cut of meat due to the location and the strain that it's put through during the whole life of the animal. This muscle basically supports 60% of the body weight of the animal. Now for this muscle to achieve this, it's going to have a lot of connective tissues. Now bringing us to the next subject, which is tenderness, which with this cut, there isn't any really. So you either braise it in liquid or you cook it low and slow to tenderize the meat, to basically break off or tenderize the connective tissue. Now there's 2 muscles here. As you can see, this is the flat. They overlap each other, the flat and then the point. The flat is a little bit much leaner, which I'm sure you can tell which one it is, the one on the right, and the one that's under it to the left, it's the point. If you cook it right, everything should come out nice and moist. If you don't, it's gonna be a little bit more dry. I use this Worcestershire sauce to help it adhere better to the meat, and I think it actually works great with beef. The rub I'm using today is the Plowboys Yardbird. I think it's great on ribs, great on almost anything I really used it on, and I'm going to use it here. And I use a little bit of fresh cracked pepper that I grinded a little bit earlier. So as you can see, the point has a lot of fat content and is within the meat, and the flat actually has a little bit too. Now, as you can see, I leave a little bit more on the flat because it protects it from the heat. Like I said, the fat cap really doesn't do anything for me. I don't think it's going to render and fill through the meat and, keep it moist or anything like that. I keep it moist by making sure my heat's right and making sure that I spritz once in a while to keep some moisture in there. I don't inject. I don't believe in it. I think the meat should just do the talking, and it makes it more difficult, and I like the challenge. Like I said, I like to do things against the grain, make it difficult for me, because that actually is what teaches me to be better. Now let's talk temperature. For me, 250, 275 is a great range. It's gonna take a little bit longer with this temperature, but I think it reduces the risks of the meat drying too early. I don't wrap. I think if you wrap, it's gonna be steaming the meat or boiling it per se, and I don't know. I think you're gonna lose that nice bark that really, for me, is what gives it a nice flavor. The bark is flavor. It's the truth. So if you put it in foil around the 165 mark, which is what people use, I think they call it a crutch or something, it basically speeds up the cooking process. But for me, I enjoy being at the pit. I enjoy this. Now I do spritz once in a while. What I use is a mixture of around 70% of water, and the other one is going to be the Worcestershire sauce. Yes, that. And then I add a little bit of rub in there, shake it up, and then spritz it every 1.5 hours, 2 hours to kind of keep it moist in there. And that's about it. I don't inject, like I said. I let the meat do the talking and let the fat that's within the fibers do the talking. So if you're careful with it, if you treat it right, and I respect the meat. That's the way I do it. I respect it. I think this animal gave its life, and I respect it. I mean, you can just see all this fat just kind of dripping around. And that weird stuff, you look like, alien strands, whatever. It's all that fat. But like I said, I just kind of trim that off when I'm ready to slice it. I really don't like eating that stuff. I mean, there's flavor in it, but I don't really care for it. I mean, here you can see, this is the flat. It's still moist. I mean, you can see all the juice just kind of popping out of there. And you can either pull it, like kind of pulled pork, or you can slice it. So I like to slice, a couple of them for those that like it. But for me, actually, I prefer kind of like pulled pork. That's the way I like it.